Good morning, students. In our last class, we discussed about Unit 1, and the topic is series and parallel connection of the SCR. So, for that, we complete Unit 1. In our today's class, we are going to start Unit 2. So, this Unit 2 deals with the rectifiers. So, in our today's class, we are going to start the single phase half wave controlled rectifier. So, here we are also divide these rectifiers into two types. One is uncontrolled rectifier, and the second one is controlled rectifiers. So, before going to discuss about this controlled rectifier and uncontrolled rectifier, we have to know what is a rectifier. A rectifier means it is nothing but the device which converts the AC quantity into the DC quantity. Okay, na? That is called as a rectifier. Here we have two types of rectifiers. One is controlled rectifier and second one is uncontrolled rectifier. Controlled rectifier means we can control the output of the device. So in our in controlled rectifier we are going to use the SCRs, but for uncontrolled rectifier means we are using the diodes. So in uncontrolled means itself indicates there is no control of the output. Okay na? So in controlled rectifiers we have some control for the output. So in controlled rectifiers we are using rectifier SCRs. In uncontrolled rectifier we are using the diodes. Okay na? So in our today's class we are going to see the half wave controlled rectifier. Half wave controlled rectifier means, for suppose we are considering AC as a input for the rectifier. So what we are getting the output means we are getting the only positive half cycle as a output. That means we are getting the DC for only positive half cycles. This is called a positive. This is called half controlled rectifier. Okay na? So before going to starting of this half controlled rectifier, we have to know some terminologies which are used in these rectifiers. Okay now, so let us see the terminology what we are used in this rectifier circuits. So let us consider a waveform. That means here we are generally used is input as a AC. So let us consider a AC sinusoidal waveform, and that AC sinusoidal waveform is expressed with a mathematical function. Okay na? So generally here we are used a function as Vm sin omega t. That means f of t is equal to Vm sin omega t. So where here Vm is nothing but the maximum voltage for a given sine wave. So for understanding of these terminals, here they mentioned a function f of t. Okay na? So let us see first one, peak value of the peak value of f. That means peak value of the function f. It is denoted by f cap. So what is the peak value of f means its name itself indicates what is the highest value in the given function. So what is the highest value in the given function means f cap is equal to nothing but the maximum value in the given function. Let us see, for suppose generally we are taking the sine wave. This is the sine wave. Here we are getting the maximum value Vm. So here we consider that peak value as a Vm. Similarly, if you take the function f of t, in that what is the peak value means at which point we are getting the maximum value of that function, it is called as a peak value. Okay na? Next, average value, it is indicated by f average. For suppose we are here, this f indicates nothing but the function. For suppose we are using the voltage, means we denote it as a v average. Okay na? For suppose we are discussing about the current, means at that time we write I average. That means this f is nothing but the given function. Okay na? So generally this average value is expressed as f average is equal to 1 by t integral 0 to f of t into dt, where this t is called as a time period of the given function. So see here, for suppose if you take the sine wave 0 pi to pi, so here from 0 to pi, pi to 2 pi. So if you want to find the average value for this sine wave, we have to apply the limits time period as 0 to 2 pi. Okay na? So for finding out of the average time period, we have the formula like this: 1 by t integral 0 to t f of t into dt. So if you apply this for the sine wave, means it becomes 1 by 2 pi integral 0 to 2 pi vm sine omega t. Okay na? So this is about the average value. This average value indicates nothing but the average output of the given circuit. Okay na? Next, RMS value, or so RMS value is expressed as 1 by t. See here, this is f RMS. If we want to discuss about voltage, means at that same time indicates v or ms. Okay na? Similarly, if you discuss about the current, at that time we write I or ms. Okay na? Here they take example as a function f. That's why we are writing the f RMS. So here we have to understand this thing. So f RMS can be expressed as square root of 1 by t integral 0 to 2 f square into so f RMS is equal to square root of 1 by t integral 0 to t f square into t into dt. So here already we know that this t is considered as a time period of the given function. Next, form factor. So this form factor is defined as it is the ratio of RMS value to the average value. This form factor plays a very important role in waveforms. Why? Because if you see, our entire power systems depends upon this form factor only. For example, if you take the voltage levels in any transformer, it is nothing but the multiples of 11. Why we are getting the multiples of 11 means, that means if you take any voltage levels in a substation, it is 33 or 66 or 11 kV. Why all these are come with multiples of 11 means because of the form factor. Okay na? So we are using the sine wave as the input of a transformer, and output we get the form factor as 1.11. that is the reason we are getting the multiples of 11 in voltage levels of the transformer. Okay na? So this form factor represents the defined as the RMS value to the average value. Next, ripple factor. Ripple factor is, what is the ripple factor indicates means, ripple factor indicates the how much of ripple content present in the output what we are get in the rectifiers. For suppose we are getting the output from the rectifiers. In that rectifiers there contains some ripples in the output. So Here the ripple factor indicates how much of ripple quantity is present in the output of the given circuit. Okay, now this is called a ripple factor. So mathematically it is expressed as square root of RMS square minus average square divided by F average. Okay, now so it can simply expressed as form factor square minus 1. This is square root of form factor square minus 1. This is about the ripple factor. Next, peak to peak ripple factor. So peak to peak ripple factor means, for suppose we are getting the ripples in the output of the circuit. What is the peak to peak difference of the ripple factor? It can be expressed with this peak to peak ripple factor. The formula for this is F max minus F minimum for a particular time. So F max minus F minimum, that means nothing but the function of maximum value minus function minimum value for a particular time. It is considered as a ripple peak factor. See here, peak factor for a given output is, we are considering output, and for that we find the maximum value minus minimum value. Ripple peak to peak factor means we have to consider ripple values. Okay, now so that is about the ripple factor. Next, fundamental compound. So it is expressed as F1. So it is the RMS value of the sinusoidal compound in Fourier series expressed of F with frequency 1 by T. So ripple factor, so fundamental compound means nothing but the what are the fundamental elements that present in the given output. This can be expressed by using Fourier transforms. So this is the formula for finding of the fundamental component. F1 square root of 1 by 2 FA1 square plus FB1 square. Here also write FA1 as 2 by T integral 0 to T F of T into cos 2 pi T by T. Okay, now so here the capital T indicates the 1 by T indicates the frequency. Next, similarly FB1 has the formula 2 by pi integral 0 to T F of T sin 2 pi by T into dt. This is about the fundamental compound. Next, crust factor. Crust factor is also expressed as F cap. F cap means nothing but the, already we seen that. So see here, already we see F cap as a peak to peak ripple factor. That means, so crust factor can be expressed as ripple factor, peak to peak ripple factor divided by RMS value. So this crust factor explains how much of waveform is disturbed. So for suppose we consider a output, we compare the output, that means reference output, compared with the what are the output we get from the device. Okay, now we compare both these elements and how much of waveform is disturbed. Crusted means nothing but the disturbance of the waveform. Okay, now so this is about the crust factor, and mathematically it is expressed as F cap divided by F RMS, where this F cap is nothing but the peak to peak ripple value, and F RMS is nothing but the RMS value of the given function. Next, distortion factor. It is defined as a df suffix d. So what this distortion factor express means how much of output wave is disturbed because of the our circuit. For suppose if you let us consider this is the output what we have to get by using half wave. That means we are getting only positive half cycles. Okay now, so if you compare this with the original output, there is a some disturbance. That means actually this is the output what we have to get from the device we used. But while in practical situation there is a some certain disturbances or get in the output waveform. So this is considered as a distortion factor. How much of disturbance or distortion is occurred in the given waveform, it is considered as a distortion factor. It is expressed as f1 by f rms. F1 means nothing but the fundamental element of the given function. F1 f rms is nothing but the rms value of the given function. This is the formula for distortion factor. So fundamental factor divided by rms value, it is considered as a distortion factor. Next, total harmonic distortion, THD. So total harmonic distortion is also a one important factor for the power electronics. Why? Because how much of harmonics distortion factor is present is also a very important. So the amount of distortion in the waveform of f is quantified by means of index total harmonic distortion. So see here, the definition what it explains means how much of amount of distortion in the waveform of a function f. Okay na? So what it indicates means totally how much of waveform is disturbed. It is considered as a total harmonic distortion. This formula for the total harmonic distortion is this one, square root of sigma k is equal to 0 to infinity fk by f1 whole square, or square root of 1 by df square. Df square means distortion factor divided by distortion factor. This f of k is nothing but the kth harmonic. Okay na? F1 is nothing but the fundamental harmonic. Kth harmonics is here. Harmonics is also, there are different types of harmonics is there. Fundamental harmonic, third harmonic, or even harmonic, or odd harmonic. Okay na? So fk is nothing but the number of the harmonic, where this k is the kth harmonic. This is the about total harmonic distortion. Next, firing angle of a rectifier. Firing angle of the rectifier means so it defines at what time the SCR going to be conducted. That means SCR is going to be in forward condition. That is called as a firing angle. So indirectly it defines, see here, time interval. So firing angle in itself indicates at what time the SCR is going to be in forward condition. That is called as a firing angle. This firing angle is expressed in radians per second. Okay na? Radius per second into multiple of it input supply frequency. So generally overall this firing angle can be expressed in radians. Okay na? That means omega. Next, extension angle. So extension angle means it refers to the time interval for which instant when the current through an outgoing thyristor becomes 0 to instant when positive voltage is rippled. It expressed in radians by multiplying the time interval with the input supply frequency omega in radians per second. The extension time should be larger than the turn off time of the thyristor to avoid commutation failure. Extension time means even though actually when we are applying the gate pulse, at that situation the SCR starts conduction. When the positive cycle reaches to 0, at that situation the SCR automatically will be turned off. Okay na? But this is not happened in some situations where we are using the inductive loads. At that situation, even though the input positive cycle reaches 0, but output does not reaches to 0. It extends to up to some angle because of the induction load. This is called extension angle of the rectifier. Next, overlapping angle. So the commutation process in practical rectifier is not instantaneous. During period of commutation, both incoming and outgoing devices conducting current simultaneously. The period of expressed in radians is called overlapping angle of the rectifier. Overlapping angle means both the SCR is conducted in input waveform, at the same time it gets the output. So see here, when the SCR is turned off, it have to turn off naturally, but some situations it is going to be extend. That is called extension angle. So sometimes both input is supplied and we are getting the output also. That is called as a overlapping angle. Okay now, see here, firing angle means it is nothing but the where SCR going to be start conduction. That is called firing angle. Extension angle means actually at that point the SCR stops conduction, but it is not stopped. Why? Because of its induction load. Next, overlapping angle. Overlapping angle means the SCR, the input is conducting, output is also conducting. That situation is called overlapping angle. And to verify, alpha means nothing but firing angle. Firing angle plus overlap angle plus extension angle should be equal to pi. Okay na? This is about the terminology we are used in this SCRs. Let us see the single phase half wave controlled rectifier. The single phase half wave controlled rectifier we are going to discuss with different loads. That is, one is R load, and second one is RL load, and third one is this RL load contains two methods. One is with freewheeling diode and second one is without freewheeling diode. Here the concept is, in our today's class we are going to see about only RL load. Let us see single phase half wave controlled rectifier with R load. So the name itself suggests that it converts AC to DC output only for positive half cycle. So in single phase half wave controlled rectifier we are going to convert only positive half peak into the DC quantity. Okay na? So this contains a SCR and AC voltage source and the load. So see here, this is the single phase half controlled rectifier. This contains input voltage Vs is equal to Vm sin omega t and a thyristor and a resistive load. Here VT is denoted in the circuit. That VT is called voltage across the thyristor, and this V0 is nothing but the voltage across the output load. So Vs is the input supply. Let us see the working operation of this this half wave rectifier. Let us consider this first wave. It is the input, that means Vm sine omega t. It is the Vs wave shape. Okay, now next second one is gate pulse. So this gate pulse is used to trigger the SCR. This is also called as a gate pulse or firing pulse. So when we are applying this pulse to the SCR, at that time the SCR going to be turned on. Okay, na? See here how the output is expressed. So let us see first working of the this thyristor. So we are supplying the input to the SCR, and the SCR is in reverse conduction mode up to the point when the gate signal is reaches. Once this gate pulse is reached to the SCR, at that time the SCR starts conduction. When this SCR starts conduction, the entire, so before reaching the triggering pulse or gate pulse, the voltage across the VT is, voltage across the load is 0. Okay, na? But when it starts conduction, what is the voltage we are applied here? That entire voltage is appeared across the load. Okay, na? So this is for only positive half cycle. When the AC quantity reaches to positive cycles to negative cycle, at that time the SCR will be turned off. When this SCR will be turned off, there is no output is present across the load. That output is becomes 0. Okay, now when the triggering pulse reaches, second pulse reaches, at that time the SCR will be turned on again. Let us see the waveforms for better understanding of the operation of the this half wave rectifier. Let us see this figure 1 is the input voltage, that means sine wave. When the triggering pulse, second wave, it is called as a gate pulse or triggering pulse or firing pulse. When the pulse is applied to the SCR, see the how the output is. See how this output is uh, expressed in the waveform. See here, up to firing angle is applied to the circuit. Up to firing angle is applied to the circuit, the output voltage is 0. Okay, na? So when this firing angle is applied or triggering pulse is applied, at that situation the SCR starts conduction. At that situation, the what is the output is, what is the input is voltage applied to the circuit, that same input is applied to the waveform also. Okay, na? Next, after reaching pi, at that situation the input voltage reaches to 0. Okay, na? So when this negative peak, when this reaches to negative side, this SCR automatically will turned off up to the point 2 pi plus alpha. At 2 pi plus alpha, the triggering pulse is applied. At that situation, again this SCR starts conduction, and what is the input applied to the circuit? The entire applied input is comes across the output. So this process is repeated for next 4 pi plus 5. So this process is repeated up to the end. Okay, na? So this is the voltage waveform, and current waveform is also similarly like waveform, output waveform. This is the current waveform of the load. This is about the operation of this SC R. Okay na? Next, let us see calculations of this half wave rectifier. Here we have to calculate three important factors. What is the average output of the this half wave rectifier, and second one is what is the RMS output of this half wave rectifier, and the third one is average load current and average RMS load current. So for calculation of this average value, formula is already we see at the time of starting. Average value can be find out by using the formula 1 by t integral 0 to t f of t into dt. This is the formula. So let us see. So 1 by t, here 1 by t indicates 2 pi. We are considering the sine wave, and that sine wave time period is 0 to 2 pi. So the total time period we are considering 1 by 2 pi integral 0 to 2 pi. This 2 pi is dividing. Why we are dividing into three parts means, see here what are the limits we are considered. 0 to alpha. So 0 to alpha means, see here how the waveform, see here 0 to alpha it is 0. Next alpha to pi it is Vm sin omega t. Next pi to 2 pi it is a 0. Here we are applying the same values. So here we are applying the same values. 1 by this quantity becomes 0 and this quantity becomes 0. So we have to consider only integral alpha to pi Vm sin omega t into dt. So 1 by t 1 by 2 pi integral alpha to pi Vm sin omega t. If we get this Vm outside, this becomes Vm by 2 pi integral alpha to pi sin omega t into d omega t. So if you apply the limits and if we simplify, we are getting the output Vm by 2 pi into 1 plus cos alpha. This is the average value of the half wave rectifier. And second one, RMS value. So how can we calculate this RMS value means, already we have the formula. RMS value is square root of 1 by t integral 0 to f of t whole square into dt. So here also again we applying the same time period t as a 2 pi and limits 0 to 2 pi. So how we are applied this limit in previous calculation, that means while calculating in average value we are dividing these limits into three parts, that means 0 to alpha, alpha to pi, next pi to 2 pi. Here also we are dividing this quantity and applying only limits to alpha to pi. Okay na? So this sine square omega 2 can be write as 1 minus, see here 1 minus cos 2 omega t by 2. This 2 is we are getting the sending outside. So this is the way we have to simplify. So by simplifying this value we are getting Vm by 2 root pi square root of pi minus alpha plus 1 by 2 sin 2 alpha. This is the RMS value of the half wave rectifier. Okay na? So this is about the overview of this RMS value. This is the average value. Once if you find out the RMS voltage value, RMS average voltage value, we can simply calculate the RMS currents and average currents. How can we get this RMS currents and average currents means, by dividing with the resistance R. See here, for finding out of the average load current, already we find out this V average. So if you want to find the I average, simply we are dividing with R. Okay na? So we get I average. Next, I RMS. This RMS current also we get simply by writing VRMS divided by load resistance. Okay now see here, this is the RMS load current divided by R. We get the load RMS current for the given half wave rectifier. Okay na, this is about half wave rectifier. So students, in our next class we are going to discuss about half wave rectifier with RL load. RL load means resistors and inductive load. Okay na. So because of this inductive load, there is a some special case is raised in the system. So in our tomorrow's class we are going to discuss about this RL load and what is this special case we are raised in that RL load, and how can we overcome that problem in the RL load. In our tomorrow's class we will see these things. Okay now students, thank you.